Explaining too much is the invisible weight we carry to be accepted. It's the silent attempt to justify our own existence before a mirror that never reflects truth. You live inside a cycle where every word spoken is a currency to stay. Explaining is trying to tame the inner storm with voices that always vanish into emptiness. And so you lose yourself between the reason of others and your own silence. You became an expert at translating pain into other people's language, building invisible bridges that collapse before they're crossed. What you seek is not just understanding, it's permission to exist without defense, to be whole without guilt. But the raw truth we dare not say is that no one is ready to listen without judging. And you learn not to expect that listening, so you keep explaining, even knowing it's useless. The ritual of explanation became a prison where freedom dresses in guilt and silence in abandonment. You hide behind justifications like armor, hoping that one day the truth slips through your fingers without hurting. But it doesn't escape. It stays, trapped deep in your chest, pulsing in your throat, screaming mute. And you, tired, keep explaining while the void grows. You became the invisible translator, the mediator between what you feel and what the world accepts. The role you assumed is the eternal explainer, always ready to justify, prove, calm others, even if it costs your own voice. You are the bearer of peace, the connector balancing silent conflicts inside and out. This mask became your identity, and the question that never stops echoing is, will I ever be heard without needing to explain? In this role, you learned to anticipate doubts, to dismantle misunderstandings before they form, to give yourself in words to avoid abandonment or judgment. But deep down, you know this verbal giving is a trap that keeps you prisoner. A golden cage made of unspoken silences, unnamed desires, and a deep thirst to be accepted simply for existing. You live in constant tension between being transparent and invisible, between what you say and what you hide. This identity was forged in the urgency of fear, in the attempt to survive judging eyes and condemning ears. And so, you got lost in the echo of your own voice, seeking the approval that never comes, while your soul begs for silence, not to erase, but to exist in peace. I imagine myself trapped in a room full of doors that never open. Each door is a word I need to say, an explanation I must give to keep existing in that space. I turn the key, open the door, say what needs to be said, and it closes behind me with a dry click, locking me deeper into the prison of silence. The walls absorb my voice and return empty echoes, as if no one is really there to listen. This room is lit by a flickering bulb, my wavering courage. Sometimes the light goes out and I'm left in darkness, only with the sound of my unheard words falling into the void. I try to open another door, but the keys are worn and my hands tremble. I'm tired of explaining, but the fear of being left forces me to keep talking, as if my survival depends on constant speech, even though it doesn't save me. And while I'm trapped in this cycle of doors, my soul dissociates from my body, silently watching the scene, searching for a place where it can simply exist without having to prove anything. But for now, I keep turning the key, opening doors that close, repeating the ritual of explanation that doesn't set me free. I built versions of myself that don't feel, they just justify. I created a character who talks too much to avoid invisibility, who stumbles over words to escape the silence that reveals. I learned to smile while my chest tightens, to answer questions never asked, to fill the void with speeches trying to control the narrative. Inner noise is my survival tactic. The more I talk, the less space there is for pain to appear. When the truth threatens to surface, I get lost in speeches, drown in explanations, invent reasons to avoid being left behind. Guilt haunts me, a shadow pushing me to justify my existence, my way, my choices. Being silent means abandonment, so I speak, even if the words destroy me. I speak to not disappear, to stay present, to not be forgotten. But all this talking hides a greater silence, the silence of not allowing myself to simply be, without explanation, without proof, without permission. The silence screaming, "I exist even when I have no answer." It hurts because the voice crying for silence was never heard. It hurts because I became a master at justifying my existence, but not at accepting it. It hurts because guilt became an invisible chain binding me to the endless cycle of explanation, a prison where freedom is a promise never kept. It hurts because every word spoken is a lost battle between the desire to be seen and the fear of being abandoned. It hurts because I wanted to free myself from the obligation to explain, but I don't know how to silence the echo that haunts me. It hurts because the child inside me still waits for permission to exist undefended, to be loved unconditionally, to simply be, without explanation, approval, or guilt. And it hurts because that child is tired of waiting and doesn't know if it can wait another day. The pain still pulses because I never learned that true freedom is to exist without having to justify, to be whole even when you don't fit, to accept silence as a home, not abandonment. When I look back honestly, I see that this need to explain isn't just mine. It carries the voice of those who also had to justify themselves to exist. It bears the mark of ancestors who learned early that words were currency, silence was punishment, and affection depended on constant proof. I grew up in a place where explanation became obligation, where love was conditional on answers, on justifications, on a performance that was never enough. And so, unknowingly, I inherited this armor of words, an armor that protects but also imprisons. This invisible inheritance makes me repeat ancient rituals, trying to fix what was never broken for me, but was for those who came before. Living in explanation became a reverence to untold pains, unconfessed fears, a silent loyalty that keeps invisible chains alive. I carry not only my own words, but the echo of an entire lineage that was never allowed to simply be. Explaining too much cost me my true voice. It turned my presence into a performance. I made justification a shield, but that shield distanced me from who I really am. I learned to be a ghost in the crowd, always available for others' questions, but invisible to myself. Authenticity was sacrificed on the altar of fear of being misunderstood, fear of abandonment. What's left is an empty echo, a life shaped by others' expectations where freedom is impossible silence. This cost is invisible to outsiders but tangible to me like an open wound. I lost the lightness of improvisation, the spontaneity of unfiltered emotions, the right to simply be, without explanation, without defense. And the cruelest part is that the ritual works. It keeps people close, but only to the version of me they want to see. The real me, the one beneath the surface, remains hidden, forgotten, in a place even I can't reach. When the voice found no space, the body took the stage. First came unexplained fatigue, then aches with no apparent cause. Heavy chest, tense shoulders, restless mind that won't rest. And doctors, no matter how hard they try, find nothing. Because the body doesn't lie but speaks a language few know how to hear. It screams what the soul silenced. It weighs what the heart hid. Every physical pain is a piece of the story left untold. A choked scream, an invisible wound bleeding inside. Ignoring the body was my last attempt to move forward. But now I know it doesn't want punishment. It wants to be heard, recognized, embraced. The body is the last ritual before the final silence, the altar where I place the emotions I could never express. And maybe the first step to stop explaining is to listen to what the body is already saying, even when the mind insists on denial. I don't need to explain myself anymore, not to be seen nor to be loved. Explanation became a prison, a cycle that pulled me away from my own voice. I got lost between what others wanted to hear and what I needed to say. And on this path, I forgot that I deserve to exist without justification. Today, I accept that my presence doesn't depend on anyone's permission, that I can be whole even when words fail, that silence is not abandonment but a home, and that I no longer have to carry the weight of proving my existence to anyone. If this truth resonates with you, comment, "I choose to exist without explanation." Like if this message touched your silence. Share with those trapped in the ritual of justification. Subscribe for more rituals that demand no apologies. Because freedom begins where explanation ends.